Hey gorgeous ones, how you doing? Rosy Glow here, just looking for where the camera is. Oh, it's over there. Hope you are well. Just wanted to make this little video in response to what was an absolutely phenomenal day yesterday, hosted by Tara Love Perry and her colleague Christiane, I believe it was. Sorry if I got that wrong. Essentially, we had a whole 9 hours yesterday of the divine feminine rising and birthing the new earth, and conversations with phenomenal women from all around the world, like amazing international influencers, visionaries that are speaking the same way I do. Like, there I was finding myself amongst my star sisters and earth sisters, just saying the same thing in a slightly different way, each of us sharing from our own areas of expertise. And it is so reassuring at this point. You know, for those of you who don't know who I am, what I do, this is all about awakening our divine human qualities, living on this earth as we were meant to be, as 12-strand DNA, fully integrated, divine masculine, divine feminine, divine inner child beings, who own our shadow and our light, and are therefore able to create miracles on this earthly plane by living as co-creators of our reality and choosing to co-create with our higher self-consciousness rather than our programming, which we call our ego consciousness. But essentially, it's the fear-based survival programming that keeps us stuck in loops of struggle. So if this is something that you like the sound of and you want to resonate with, remember that I channel divine grace. Part of the reason I've taken my husband's name Hannes on is because Rosanna means God is gracious, or graced by God, and so does Hannes, God is gracious. So I was like, let's just have some grace. And so grace to me is like the power of revelation. It's being able to listen to other speakers, listen to people sharing their wisdom and having those epiphanies, those moments where your lights get switched on and suddenly you can actually see things beyond where you currently could. And you have a moment where you shift. It's a light bulb moment. And that's what all the 9 hours were yesterday. I'm going to put the link in the text box of this video. I highly recommend you take the time. Just check out, bite-sized chunks, an hour at a time. It's so worth your time. It will blow your mind. I had so many healings myself in my inner feminine and inner authority as a result of partaking in the event. And, the question was, has fertility, birth, pregnancy been hijacked? And what can we do about it? And it actually led to some very, very interesting discussions about the moon and the influence of the moon on us, because I know there are a lot of us, including me, who've been fertility experts, if you like, and aware of the impact of the moon on our cycle. And the more we've kind of delved into this, and I did look at this a few years ago and I just put it down because I was like, I can't really deal with this right now. But one of the things that I've heard is that the moon that we have on this in our solar system is not a naturally occurring phenomena. It's not like the sun and all of the stars and the planets that we have. It has been constructed by consciousness, by extraterrestrial consciousness. And that consciousness is designed, apologies, lights on. That consciousness is designed to keep us stuck in a Saturnian cycle. So, what does that actually mean? Well, think about our menstrual cycle. Think about the fact that we are told that we're meant to bleed every 28 days, and therefore it could be 30 days, could be 28 days, and then we get pregnant halfway through our cycle. And in the days of old, when we didn't have any artificial light, then we would all bleed with the new moon and we would conceive with the full moon. And I've definitely lived by these things myself, right? I've definitely been like, yeah, that's the truth, that's what goes on, and I've been sort of part of that programming. And yesterday was very interesting in terms of the deprogramming possible, because some of the people we heard from, the possibilities which blow people's minds, including immaculate conceptions, looking at our capacity to conceive, therefore, without semen, without sperm. Also, the capacity to stop bleeding and still be able to get pregnant. We heard from a lady who, she's well past her menopause and is just gaining confirmation that she's pregnant at the moment from a doctor, but she's definitely got all of the signs and symptoms of a pregnancy, and she's 63. Things that will blow your mind. I mean, I'm just giving you highlights here to get you excited about going and exploring, but so many of the things we've been told that we are basically slaves to, if you like, or that these are patterns in nature that influence us as well, and we're just part of that, is true as natural humans. But as divine humans, we get to supersedes the wrong word, but we get to overcome that. It's like you get a new set of rules, divine truth rules that allow you to live in a paradigm where miracles actually occur. And as a result of that, this is how you hear about miracle healings. This is how you hear about miracle pregnancies. This is how you hear about all sorts, including the seed that was planted that I didn't know, was that it's possible that in the days of old, prior to our moon, we used to bleed every 3 years. So that's quite interesting in terms of natural child spacing, because, you know, so many of the things we think are the truth, we are now rediscovering there might be a greater truth. It's true, but there is a greater truth beyond that. And when you live with your superconscious, your higher self leading the way, you are basically putting your soul in control, which is what is giving me the most hope. I mean, there were 33 of us, amazing women, gathering together to share our wisdom, not in a competitive way, but in a way that was all about adding to each other's understandings. You know, I was in the same room as Binnie A. Dansby, like, she's one of my heroes, you know what I mean? And like so many other amazing women, like so many amazing women. Nina Birdstar Song was singing for us, like mermaid songs, like everyone was amazing. I just want you to check it out from start to finish. Give yourself the time, whether you're a man or a woman, or whether you don't identify either as man or woman, watch it, okay? It's really important for us to reconnect to our divine consciousness, our divine wisdom, and that whole day was about that. And it was even owning the fact that, you know, we have to accept that whatever issues are going on in this world today, we can't finger point and say, oh, it's the wounded masculine's fault. It's, you know, the wounded masculine and the wounded feminine are in each of us. It is time for us to be able to evolve beyond what we know and explore possibilities that perhaps until now we thought couldn't even be conceivable, couldn't be possible. This is going to allow us also to, I believe, make the monumental shift from is this right, is this wrong, to this is one way, but is there another way? And in particular, I'm talking here about our health system. I'm talking here about our healthcare system in particular, and the fact that it seems to be modelled on people being extremely sick and staying sick and just managing that sickness. We know that a lot of injustices have gone on through time where it points the finger to the fact that there are ultimately people, beings that have been influencing us that don't want us to be really well and happy. And the systems we have in place now function, but at what cost? What's the price? And what could we have instead? It's the same with our education system, our political system, our welfare system, any system you can imagine. We're getting this opportunity to have an upgrade. And what was so amazing about yesterday was that we were dreaming a new vision awake. For a long time, I've been kind of saying, it's all well and good us talking about the problem and recognizing there is a problem and getting people to see there is a problem, because we have to face where things are before we can actually move on from them. But we also need to be seeding a vision of what we would like things to look like in the future. And, you know, I have left behind elements of my profession because I just couldn't be that voice anymore, feeling like I was constantly just trying to push a door down and pissing in the wind, you know, feeling like I'm there trying to do something that can't happen. It's got to just all go. And this is because when you do look deeply into anything that you become, you know, specialist in, you will see that there is a veneer and then there's what's going on behind that. And it's complex, but we have the capacity within us to really start to unplug from giving our power away. You know, I had a couple of real epiphanies, like matrix, matriarch. You know, we talk about the deep, dark space of non-judgment, which is the womb, right? It's where all life is created, is in the deepest, darkest space that is meant to be non-judgmental. But if all it's done is held the toxicity, the unprocessed emotions of one generation to another, if women have come to believe the lies told about them, as have the men, that they're not worthy, not deserving, that they're bad, that they're they shouldn't be strong, that it's threatening, that they're dirty, that their natural cycles are in some way, you know, punishable, that desire is a bad thing, that, you know, think about all the different ways that we have had our perception of our inherent goodness twisted and how long that has been going on for. So it's one thing understanding history so we don't repeat it. It's another thing being given a different version of history, which is what I believe has been going on for a long time, so that we're operating from a false narrative and have been for a very long time. What will it actually take for us now to see what is beyond that false narrative, and to be able to piece together what it would mean to live authentically on this earth as humans and divine humans at the same time. So aware of our physical reality, our physical bodies, but also our infinite, eternal soul nature and our capacity to be able to, well, what's it called? Defy gravity, to be able to create the miracles that we hear our great sages of the past did, and to recognise that we're no different to them. That actually, when we recognise love as the motivational force in all good things, and we access that love and recognise we are love, that's when we can really make the change. So anytime you notice you give your authority to outside of you, notice that, start to pay attention. Where do you ask someone else their opinion before you make your own opinion up? Where do you abdicate your responsibility, your self-responsibility, because you're scared of getting it wrong, and you go to an expert so that expert can tell you more about your body, your mind, your emotional state, your soul than you actually know? When we start to piece this together and we decide to claim our inner authority and to surrender to our God self, to our highest self, that us who already has what we want, then we can start to take inspired action. And so if you want to start that journey, remember that we have to deprogram from the fear in the collective first and foremost. And, you know, I offered up 2 gifts as a result of being part of Tara's event yesterday, and every one of the speakers who was there also offered a gift as a result of signing up to this. So you can sign up at any point if you follow the link, and you will receive the gifts from all 33 of us that took part yesterday. And honestly, they're really generous, because we want all of you, all of us, to uplift as quickly as possible, to transmute and transcend the density that is keeping us in fear. It's so important to remember things are not the way that they have been put to us, but all of us have blind spots we're discovering. So this is not about feeling like you're wrong or you're bad for having believed something or acted in such a way that, well, was well-meaning, but well-intentioned, but at the end of the day, probably not the most informed choices that you might have made, knowing what you know now or what you will discover. Like, it's powerful. Self-forgiveness, mercy, acceptance, it's powerful. And we're doing this now because we really need to think about the future generations. We really need to think about the impact of what's going on in the world today and think, is this the world we want our children to inherit? And we only need to say, no, we don't. We want something much better for our children, and that will start to occur. But there are so many people running around trying to control things from their egoic state. So many parents, so many teachers, so many politicians, so many people in the media that are just terrified, and they're projecting their fear into the collective, and they are creating crimes against humanity, basically, because they're not owning their fear and being willing to challenge their beliefs and see things from a greater perspective. So the other take home that I really took yesterday was about creativity being creator energy. For a long time, I've been saying that our sexual, fertile and creative energy is one and the same. If we can unblock the flow, usually the easiest way is through our sexual energy. Sometimes it's through our creative pursuits that we do it, but mainly it's through our connection to our sexuality, because there's so much shame. I mean, in our conversations yesterday, there's not virtually one woman, and you could argue one man, that hasn't had some kind of shocking experience or shameful experience or abusive experience around their sexuality, where their body was in some way not respected or violated, whether we're just told something about us that we start to believe that makes us feel bad about ourselves, or whether someone acts towards us in a way that feels in that moment that we have been disempowered and we weren't in our truth, we weren't giving permission, or whether we ourselves have acted in such a way where we've tried to take something that isn't ours. We've just got to own it, friends. Like, it really is just a time to say, yeah, you know, like we've all come from a wounded space, and it's time to heal. So in this creativity, fertile sexual energy clearing, which is accepting our God selves, accepting we are so worthy and deserving of all that we desire, and we are innocent, we get to see creative energy as creator energy. That's why the power of our imagination is so powerful, okay? This is why, sorry about the cameo, it is why our own creativity has been thwarted every which way, while we've been told not to daydream, while we've been told to just get on with the serious work of you know, working hard to earn money, and you know, if something isn't hard earned, then it's not worthwhile. Like, what a load of bullshit conditioning we've had, right? How can we possibly move out of lack and struggle if we believe the lies that we've been told? Well-meaning advice, even if it was misinformed. And I think this is the world at large. We can just say a lot of well-meaning beings that are misinformed. Who's been misinforming us? Well, for a long time, we're just going to have to own this part of our soul's growth and evolution, but it is time to awaken now. So if we claim our creator energy, our capacity to create through our imagination, you can understand why the pineal gland is so important. You can understand why resting, relaxation, having fun, taking time to just be is so important, because this is when the answers drop in. And it is our time of liberation now. As we start to awaken, and I'm convinced, if everyone who watches this video watches the 9 hours that we took part in yesterday, and like I said, take your time, just do it bite-sized chunks. You only have to listen, you don't have to watch us. It will awaken so many codes in you that you will start to find yourself integrating very, very quickly. And you know, in terms of the gifts that I offered, one was really a digital product that will be available to everybody who signs up, that just helps to clear fear on every level, whether it's fear of anything external, basically. It's a 7-day cosmic cleanup crew detox, which will just help you to let go of all the external fears that are in the current collective at the moment, so you can reset your vibration to oxytocin, to love, to the parasympathetic nervous system, and you can then allow yourself to receive the codes you need to liberate yourself, and you will liberate everyone around you. And then the other gift, well, you're just going to have to sign up to find out, but you know, there are only going to be a limited amount that I can offer before I'm just totally overwhelmed. And you know, the amount of people I work with in terms of one-to-one coaching clients and group coaching is limited. So if you want to get in on this now and start to clear yourself of the self-sabotage that holds you back, clear yourself of the reasons why you don't move forward and you keep creating the same old story again and again, wondering why this keeps happening to you again and again. You want to learn how to drop into your heart and live as your divine human self, as an ascended master in training. Get on it. It's now. It's not tomorrow. It's not next week. It's now. This is your moment of power. Okay. I love you so much. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for just holding the vision with me, because yesterday I really saw I'm not alone in what I'm saying. I'm not alone at all. There are so many sisters on this planet that are holding the same vision as me. They're bridging the worlds that I bridge, and they're moving through it, and they are calling to them the re-empowerment of their inner authority. And that's how you can create babies when you're not bleeding. That's how you can restart your cycle if you need to. That's how you can attract true love even when you've had crappy relationships in the past. That's how you can start to be abundant when you've only known lack. It is allowing yourself to create a paradigm shift within you that then allows you to see that in the world around you. And yeah, we all need guidance with that. We all need tools with that. But go dip your toe in. You'll feel happier about swimming in this new ocean. And I'll see you there. Namaste.